Oh, hun,
Yes, dear?
can you go pick up a trampoline for the kids? And you might just need to take it apart to fit it in the car, is that okay? And you might just need to take it apart to fit it in the car.
Don't worry, brother. I gotcha. Who are you? I'm Trampoline Man. Let's go get it done. No, okay. That was all rather insane, but now I am going to show you how I relocate trampolines as a professional Vuly installer. This video is for a Vuly Ultra, the classic OG model, but it's a very similar process for the newer Ultra 2 and other trampolines in general. First, my best bird, WD-40. The frame of the Vuly Ultra can be quite hard to get apart, even if it's only a couple of years old with no signs of rust. I normally give a quick spritz on the parts of the frame I'll be taking apart later, so it has time to sink in. To skip ahead and show you our process, we're going to be leaving the leg sections together to make reassembly much easier. So no need to spray lube anywhere on the leg joiners or on the bit of frame within the legs that we want to keep together. Now, the first thing to come off will be the shade cover. These are usually installed wrong, like this one was. But wrong or right, you'll likely need a ladder, and all you need to do is pull down on the cover to release some tension. Then the little pin can be pushed and pulled out through its hole. Do that for each pin and let the cover drop into the tramp. We'll take that out later. A special note, if you've got an Ultra 2 or a Thunder 2, leave the shade cover attached. It can stay connected the entire way from taking it down to transport to putting it back together, and it's hard to put back on. So leave that sucker on. Okay, next we need to take down the safety net. We've already greased up these bottom joiners because they can be very hard to take out on either the Ultra OG or the Ultra 2. This trampoline was a little newer than most, so they just popped right out. Now, if you do happen to come across one that is very difficult, you might need to pull backwards extra hard as high up on the pole as you can while jerking the pole upwards out of the hole. In this case, it really does help to have a bit of extra height and strength, but if you have a second person, that will also be advantageous. So each pole that you take out, there's a little button that holds the pole pieces together. Push that button in and take out the bottom section. Place those together in a neat pile and leave the top pole attached to the safety net. These can be a nightmare to take off and put on, so a huge time and effort saver is to just leave them on. This is the same for the Ultra 2 and Thunder 2, except there's no button to press and the poles come apart in 3 parts. The bottom and middle poles will slide out, and the top pole can stay attached to the safety net. A quick word of warning with the Ultra 2 and Thunder 2, the safety net poles are under enormous tension and can fling out and hit something, be it a head or a leg, if you're standing in front of them. So when you're pulling them out of that hole, stand to the side. Trampolines are no joke, man. So now we have access to the shade cover. You can just pull that out, fold it up, and pop that next to the other parts. Okay, next we'll take off the safety pad. These are held on by a spring at each leg, so simply take each one of those springs off and it will be free. I'm using my own spring puller tool. Yes, I'm a certified tramp geek, but if you and the previous owners don't have a spring puller, you can use pliers to grip and pull the spring out, or I've seen people use a screwdriver to lever it out. You can then use the first spring as your spring puller tool. It's already got a nice strong hook built into it. But all of this is pretty painful, so I recommend finding or buying the actual spring puller tool. I use a bucket to collect the springs, but I normally have a rectangular box which allows me to keep the springs straight and all facing the same way, which is another one of my tips to make reassembly much easier. With each of these springs removed, the safety pad can now be taken off and neatly folded. Now for the rest of the springs. I've seen other trampoline how-to videos where people just decide to film their first attempt at taking apart or putting together a trampoline, and they usually make mistakes, especially around the order of springs. And then they regret it halfway through and have to redo everything. It's a mess. So do not remove the springs sequentially. As in, don't remove one spring and then move the one directly next to it and then the one directly next to it. You're gonna have a bad time. For one, it might warp the frame with all that tension on one side of the tramp. And secondly, it will make the springs much harder to remove because as you go along, they'll be getting pulled sideways in their holes, which makes it extremely hard to take them out. After all that, we're going to do it the right way, even if it means a little bit more walking. So take one spring off per section of the frame, then move to the next section and continue that way until most of the springs are off. To make spring collection easier, we'll leave one spring attached on each section and let the rest dangle where they are. We can then come around and collect them while they're hanging nicely in the air, rather than crawling around and getting them off the ground like a wombat. Now, if you're finding this useful and or entertaining, I'd love if you could hit the like button and leave a short comment. No need to subscribe because you probably won't have to look me up again for another several years, and by then, robots with freaking laser beams attached to their heads can relocate your trampoline for you. Then we can just take off the last springs one by one and let the mat drop onto the ground. We'll deal with that after we take apart the frame. Okay, for the frame, this can either be super hard or super easy to take apart. It's truly a lucky dip. For frames that are absolutely stuck together, here is a video that shows you a trick to make it much easier to take apart, especially if you're doing this on your own. This frame just fell apart, which is also good to see, because if you're doing this near a window or a glass pool fence or some other breakable thing, make sure you're extra careful and supporting the frame as you take out the first pieces. And as much as you can, try to drag it out into the open, away from breakable things, before trying to take it apart. And as I alluded to earlier, our leg sections will stay together, and the other frame pieces can just be collected and kept in a nice little group. The mat, safety net, and top poles of the safety net can all stay connected. It all just needs to be tidied up for transport. So spread the mat out nicely, then place all the top poles together, parallel. They don't have to be facing the same direction, just as long as they're all aligned. Then you can fold the mat up like a big burrito. You now just have to put it in your car. I have a regular old SUV and I haven't yet met a trampoline that I couldn't fit in the back. I even started doing this job with an old Corolla sedan and then with a Volkswagen Golf. So as long as you've taken the trampoline down into its parts, you'll be able to fit it into most cars. Just fold down the back seats and lay a tarp or an old sheet down for any mud or ants that have come along for the ride, and you should be sweet. Or if you've got a ute, just make sure everything is tied down or covered up so it doesn't fly away while you're driving down the motorway. To see how to reassemble this trampoline at its new location, I'll put that link right here. I hope this video helped, and again, if it did save you time and or money and or frustration, please hit the like button and leave me a friendly comment. Thank you, bye!